Hi, everybody. I have a little head cold, so I'm going to dish this off pretty quickly to Lieutenant Gwen Phillips and Officer Terry Height. We've done a lot of research and study over the last couple of months since I've been here and finding some holes and some tweaking we want to do for our ALICE program. So again, after evaluating a lot of different avenues, and thankfully we got Terry now who's a trainer as well, we're going to do some certain things differently. So I'll give you Lieutenant Phillips.
Hello, how you guys doing? We have a great program here called ALICE. We've been using ALICE since 2016. I'm going to explain what ALICE is. ALICE is an option-based response to a violent critical incident. It is tailorable to student populations as well as building-specific variables. ALICE provides valuable life skills that increase situational awareness and the ability to respond to events in any public place, not just the school. What ALICE stands for is alert, meaning that this is your first inclination that there is something wrong in your building. Lockdown and barricade. Inform. ALICE suggests that you contact 911 and also let other people in your building know that there's a danger so they can appropriately react. Counter, which is not just physical fighting, but doing anything you can to defend your life. And for our younger students, it could mean creating noise, distance, distraction, to make themselves a more difficult target, and evacuate or escape. What is ALICE? The objectives of ALICE training. We want to understand the need for change from the standard traditional lockdown, understand the elements of an option-based response, fostering situational awareness, and this provides knowledge and skills to know when to use various options available. How to fortify and barricade a space to make it a harder target, distract, disorient, and/or disable an attacker if no other option is viable, and this increases our chances of escape and survival, and safely interact with responding police. ALICE successfully generates a situation-based response, not a standard protocol. And this is to stimulate pre-planning and discussion before an actual event.
So in looking at ALICE as it's been deployed across the district here in Spring-Ford, we, as the chief said, noticed that there were some ways that we could possibly improve it. Just because of the way it was rolled out, it's been a little stagnant, and we're looking to stimulate a little bit of change with that, and we're looking to evolve it and move it forward. So our goals right now are to refocus a more consistent vision of ALICE across the district. Just because of the way it was deployed, we find that some different buildings have gone a slightly different direction with it than others. So we want to kind of pull everybody back together on that. And we want to lay the groundwork for an evolution of the program moving forward, specifically two different areas. We want to look at focusing on an age-appropriate response. This isn't a cookie cutter. We can't expect our buildings that have K through 4 kids to respond to events and situations the same that we expect high school, with high school kids. So we want to focus on age-appropriate response, and we also want to encourage some building-specific considerations. Spring City Elementary School is a completely different building than the high school. I can walk around Spring City Elementary School in 30 seconds. I can't do that here. So once we've done that, we're going to be looking to evolve this program forward so that we can improve some responses all the way across the district. So how are we going to do that? Well, currently what we're doing is we're doing workshop programs with the staff starting with our elementary schools and working them up. Just a short 30, 45-minute workshop where we talk about the things we just mentioned, refocusing, getting them on board as to what we're going to be doing. We're identifying some specific vulnerabilities in buildings, specifically at this point, student-occupied areas. Nothing huge, nothing big, but things that we can do to make those areas a little more defensible, a little safer than what they are. Not all our buildings were built with security and safety of our kids from something like this in mind. And we're also going to be training all the Spring-Ford police so that everybody's on board with a standard ALICE response protocol. Moving forward, what we're going to be looking to do is we're going to restructure our drills to avoid what we call training scars. Basically what that is, we don't want to be doing a drill that encourages an improper behavior or response so that when something actually does happen in a critical event, that's what they fall back on. Some of our drills just because of the nature of the way we have to deal with children outside and keeping them safe, encourages improper behavior, like evacuating out one side of the building and then walking past the entire building to get to a rally point. So we're going to be looking at restructuring our drills to eliminate some of those issues, and we're also going to modify the drill schedule to be more age-specific. So in other words, we're going to be focusing more on what would the likely response to an incident like this be in an elementary school, and that's what we're going to be focusing our drills on, versus what could be different in a high school. Are those kids able to respond in a different way? We're going to be focusing our drills with them more towards that. And we're going to be doing staff development directly with the school police, so that instead of us training one administrator, they train a team, they train, and so on, it's us interacting directly with them to try to keep everybody on board, try to keep best practices and ensure consistency across the entire district. And then we're going to be developing some feedback surveys. Let us get some feedback from the staff so we can see any gaps that we're not seeing because we're looking at it from the outside in. And I just want to address a few things because a lot of these programs do fall under criticism right now for some of the things that some districts, some police agencies have done with staff and kids. First off, we will never do an unannounced Alice drill. We will never spring an active shooter drill or a drill of that violent of nature on a school community without telling them it's a drill. Students and staff will know well in advance it's a drill. When it happens, it will be made very clear that it's a drill. Parents are being notified anytime we have a drill that we did a drill, what the drill was, that everybody knew what it was. So there's not going to be any surprises in that area. And those drill announcements, when the drill happens in the school, are going to be made in an age-appropriate fashion. They're usually made by the building administrator. Again, we're not trying to scare anybody because it doesn't need to be done. And we're never going to subject our students or staff to any kind of a simulation or role-playing that's going to be overwhelming or traumatic to them. We're not going to shoot our teachers with pellet guns, despite the fact some of our administrators sometimes ask us to. We won't do that. It's not something that's ever going to happen. And that's it.